So what we are going to do, I'm going to show you how to do exception handling in the REST API. Why we need exception handling in the REST API? Anybody want to answer it? Because when you hit REST API, some problem occurs, right? Client should know about it, right? I'm hitting my REST API. There could be problem in your request payload. Yes, you know, whatever request payload you are sending, it is not appropriate. Yes, you know, that is one of the reason, right? So client should get proper message. Otherwise, client will get confused. What mistake I am doing? Second, if you are sending some data, your data is correct, right? As per the validation, right? But you have another problem. Whatever data you are sending, it is not present in database. You are saying, hey, can you give me the credit card detail, which ID is something which is not in database. Again, this is the problem. Yes, you know. So as per the REST API responsibility, REST API should tell all these things to the client. How is possible? You have to do exception handling in the REST API. If you want to do exception handling in the REST API, what is the process? Anybody tell me? First of all, you should create your custom exception, right? I'm creating custom exception. This comes in the into you know runtime exception category, unchecked exception category, or checked exception category. It comes under unchecked exception category. So there is two kind of exception: checked exception, unchecked exception. Which is more preferred, checked or unchecked?
Unchecked.
Unchecked is more preferred nowadays. Because if you use checked exception, everywhere you have to mention throws, right? Unnecessarily. In order to avoid that, nowadays your framework facilitate checked exception. Checked exception is more preferred, okay, compared to unchecked exception. So I've just
Because
created
it's compiled term, that's why.
that's not actually why you are forcing programmer to handle it, because programmer is not supposed to handle the exception, right? If you are dealing with the enterprise based project, you are not supposed to handle the exception. Who is going to handle it? It should be taken care by the framework at one place, central place, right? So there's no question of using checked exception. You should use unchecked exception. That's reason is. So here, if there is some problem throughout my REST API, I can throw this banking service general exception. In order to make unchecked exception, I'm extending a runtime exception and having a parameterized constructor where I can set message of my choice. So I hope this has been covered in the exception handling. And this one is the another exception which I'm planning to use when there is some problem with my input data with the credit card. Some input is coming from the credit card, that input is not appropriate. You can throw it. And two exception is done. And this is the Pojo class, and this Pojo class you can design as per your requirement. So when a problem occurs, you can create the final message with this object, and this object structure you can design as per your requirement. This is the not final design. You can design whatever you want to do, right? So here it is just giving the at what time exception is coming. This is the message which you are setting at the time of creating exception. This is the detail about the request. Normally, in this you can set your incoming URI, which URI you are hitting. So this is a design of your message, which you can, which eventually will be converted into JSON data. This is the exception, global exception handler. In Spring Boot, by default, provide you its own exception handler, but you can customize it by creating your own class and by extending response entity exception handler. So this is inbuilt class offered by the Spring Boot. And if you want to make this class as a global exception, you have to use controller advice. Controller advice saying, hey, this class is global exception handler. In your project, anywhere exception will come, your control will come over here. And REST controller, basically, it is creating a component of it, also ensuring when you return something, it will go in JSON format. And here we have a different method. That method, one method is for handling with exception handler, handling with credit card exception, right? So method signature is name of the method, whatever name you are using, same name you can use here. This is the next parameter which we'll talk about incoming request. And here I'm using response entity. Response entity represent what? Response. And response entity always contains two parts, body and header. So first part is body and second part is header in the constructor. And this is the generics. Generics basically tells you this you design for what kind of object, right? So when request will come, you are making an array detail. In first parameter, you are passing date at what time it is created. In second parameter, you are passing the message, which will come from the exception, the place you are generating, the whatever message you are setting over there. This will give you the basically information about incoming request. Normally here, when you write false, it is going to give you the URI of the REST API which you are hitting. Same thing, whatever you have here, same thing over here, only you have changed the exception. Difference is in this, when exception is coming, you are saying bad request because this problem is coming because of the incoming data. Here you are sending not found because when you are trying to find this data ID in the database, it is not there. That's why I am using not found. This is the global exception, general exception. If anything cannot be caught in these two, then it will go to the third one. Same signature, right? But here, same, everything is same, but only I am changing the status code. Internal server error. Internal server error represent 500. 500 means if any problem is in your REST API, right? When you make a request and it's doing some processing, some exception comes, like null point exception, number format exception, transaction rollback exception, blah, blah, blah. Clear, guys? Hello? I think we have done this much only, right? After that, I had shown you the flow also, right? You see, when you click on it, hey, this problem is coming from where? Any guess? What you have set over here, 909. It is not in database. Any guess, guys? So it will go to the find by ID. Yes, you know. Problem will come here. Yes, you know. Let me show you. Hmm. I'm trying to fetch data from database. This data is not there. I'm just checking with the optional. You know, find by ID written optional. Optional is one of the feature of the Java 8. Optional is good because sometime your API can return data, can and cannot. For those kind of situation, we can use optional, and it is already supported by Java 8, and it is implicitly implemented in the framework. I am using this present. Is present. If it is coming false, means data is not there. I am using a not condition. It's become true. Then I am throwing the exception. When you throw the exception, because of the global exception handler, it will go to which catch block?
Not found.
Banking service. Banking service. Yeah, you are right. I'm doing it. You can see the flow, right? So in the body, you are sending all this detail, right? And here you are setting not found because it's not found means data is not there. I have done, right? If you want to see the second flow, you can write the negative value into it. Mhm. Hello. So here you can see it, right? If your value is less than one negative value, it will go here and it will throw the exception. After that, it will go to the global exception handler. Can you see this? Because it is throwing the credit card exception. In error detail, we are setting the current date and we are setting the message, whatever is coming from the exception, which you have just thrown from the controller REST API. In description, when you are doing false, it is just giving the URI of the incoming request. All right. Uh, After that, you can return it and you can see the same error over here. Make sense, people? So this is all about implementing exception handling in the REST API. If anybody has any question, query, let me know. Hello, question, query. See, if you understand the concept, it is okay, right? I'm not expecting you should understand syntax and everything, not possible. I'm going to, record it for you. So Swagger, we already talked about. Anybody can answer it what Swagger is? So I tell you, Swagger is just a way to provide documentation for your REST API. Swagger is a framework, right, which provides very good documentation to your REST API. Another benefit of Swagger is, can we test our REST API apart from providing documentation?
Yes.
You can do it, right? So
Yes.
for testing, it seems like it is similar to Postman, but it cannot give the competition to the Postman. Postman does many things, right? You got a point?
Yes.
So in order to implement Swagger, what we have to do, what is the first step? First step is you have to go in your POM and you have to add these two jar. And no need to remember, name and all. Can you see this? I have just added two dependency. If you understand, say I understand. Otherwise, I don't understand. This two. What this two is doing? This is in order to implement. This will enable the Swagger and this will, show you the GUI and all. The first thing you have to just add the dependency into it. What is the second thing? Any guess? Second thing
Like
is you have to make a configuration file and you can make it anywhere. Can we write in main? You can do that. Okay. It is up to you because you have to just add this. You have to just create the bean and you have to add this method. So here what I have done, I have just created a configuration file and extend web MVC configuration support. And in this you have to just override this method. This method is doing what, any guess? Here it's saying you can access Swagger on this URL pattern. It's clear or not?
Hey
So
Nagia,
this is
what
the
was that? What was that web MVC configuration support?
actually this class, all right? This
Mm-hmm.
class is saying you this is a REST API, right? And if you
Mm-hmm.
want to publish to the GUI, then you can use this class feature. So
Oh,
this
okay.
class feature allows data to access on your REST API through the GUI.
Really, we got it. Thank you.
And this is the URL pattern to access the GUI. And what this method is doing, here you are creating a bean and docket. And here you are saying you want to use Slagger 2 type, okay? And you want to enable for the particular package? Yes. Which package, man? com.rev3tech.rest
Controller.
API. You say what is your controller in this package, right? And I'm telling you, you can map with the URL pattern. You can enable for, suppose you have 100 controller, right? You want to enable only one controller, you can do it. Everything is possible, right? Yeah. So this is simple or not? This annotation is ensuring I am going to enable Swagger, right? And configuration means this is going to act as an input for the Spring Boot. You got my point? When Spring Boot container is instantiated, then this config it can take this file as a configuration. So basically, this configuration is creating a bean of it, and this method is just configuring the URL pattern for it. I hope I'm making myself clear. You have to do only two
What
things
is
to implement Swagger.
docket?
Docket is the class provided by the Swagger. Swagger says if you want to enable me in the package, make a bean of me. Make a bean of me. Other thing I will take care of it. Got my point? Can you see this? For Swagger, I'm using Spring
Yes.
Fox, right? So Spring, this docket is saying make a bean of me and see the Swagger. So docket says if you want to configure to me in your project, make a bean of me. That's it. And here you mention the package name. This is so guys, Swagger, if you know Swagger, do you think it's very challenging job to implement it? No.
Not really.
I did. I have just added two dependency, and after that I have just created this file. This file must be present in the package com.wrap3tech or sub package of it. After it, in order to see the magic of it, you have to type the URL. When you see this, I'm not writing here v4, right? No. You have to just type your URL, sorry, context path of the project and Swagger UI.html. Done. Make sense? So it will list your all the controller. In this, we have only one controller, right? That's why it's listing only one. But let me show you creating another more controller, but you can help me. Which controller? Welcome controller. So when you do it, then after that, it will show you two controller, right? REST controller. And you can write public, static, string. You know all those things, right? I'm just making a simple program, very simple get mapping and slash hello. Tell me, if you return it, hello, Swagger. Hmm. Now tell me, it will list how many controller here? Two controller. Can you see this? Hmm. Hello. When you call it, what happened? It is not taking any input and outputs, right? And you see it's quite very nice documentation. 200, okay. 401, unauthorized problem. Username, password is wrong. 403, there is problem regarding authorization, right? 404, not. Try out. Can you see the output, man? What is the output? Hello? Swagger. You guys not saying anything. Hmm? Mm-hmm. Swagger, you got it or you totally got confused? Super duper. Any guess? No confusion. The here your question
We
is
got it.
can we write a very proper information in this? What is the meaning of 200 core 400? All these things we can do it. How? There is a different annotation provided by Swagger which you can put on the method. It's easy, right? You can do it. What? I said Swagger provide lot of annotation through which you can put documentation on the method, documentation on the parameter, and those things will reflect where we have just seen in in this Swagger. You can put proper documentation. Really, that will make your REST API description more readable. How we have done? If you want to put a class level comment, you can do it. API value equals to name of the controller and this. And same thing you can see over here. Make sense? Same thing
Yep.
is coming over here. Okay. The REST API related with, and we have just put on method level also. This is method level, clear? And here you are just mentioning the different comment for the response code. But you can also put a proper comment on the input value also. You can see it, right? You can put here proper comment here, over here also, right? I hope you understand these two things today. How to do exceptional handling in REST API. Second thing we have learned Swagger, right?
Yep.
And see, today onwards, I'm not going to teach you any topic like this. Whatever I will do,